It's a marvel that convertibles still exist in an era when many drivers care less about driving than they do about phone connectivity and in-car infotainment. Put the top down and, more often than not, sun glare washes out that colourful center console display. No matter how good the wind blocker is, buffeting usually reduces hands-free communication to shouting, "I'll call you back." And these are the new problems. Like coaches and polyester, the tort lawyers and their aversion to risk that nearly drove convertibles to extinction in the 1970s are still with us. Car makers have had only middling success with alternatives such as removable roof panels and retractable hardtops. Sunburn is still sunburn. The lineup, so yes, we are a long way from the time when most every automobile on the market offered a drop-top variant, which makes the new 2017 Mercedes-Benz C-Class Cabriolet all the more exciting. Convertibles are inherently entertaining, which is one reason the style island more common in two-seat sports cars, but the Class Cabriolet is a true four-place convertible. Based on the Class Coupe, the convertible similarly will be offered in 4 distinct models when it goes on sale in the fall. The 4-cylinder C300 is the base car, available with either rear or all-wheel drive. There's a big jump up to the all-wheel drive, 6-cylinder C43 Amg on the next rung. At the top of the model range are 2 rear-drive, 8-cylinder cars, the Mercedes Amg C63 and C63S. All Class Cabriolets have turbocharged engines and automatic transmissions, a 9-speed unit with the 4 and 6-cylinder engines, a 7-speed one with the V8S. Perhaps more importantly, they all have the same sort of quite literally over-the-top convertible technology that Mercedes has used in other drop-tops higher up in its pecking order. For days when the Class is sitting under a hot sun, Mercedes offers special sun-reflecting seat leather. At speed, the air cap system deploys a spoiler from the windshield header, which is as strange-looking as it is effective. Wind-flecting abilities are augmented with a huge wind blocker behind the rear seat. On the freeway, wind buffeting is as if you were traveling at half the speed. The optional 3-layer acoustic top seals and insulates well enough that you might think you're in a coupe when the top is up. If it's chilly, the air scarf vent in the seat backrest, a system recently under legal fire for patent infringement in Germany, will blow warm air on your neck. Alas, air scarf comes only on the standard seats, so if you opt for the sport seats in the AMG cars, you'll have to raise your blood temperature by driving. Different motivations that should be easy enough, as the 362 horsepower C43 is quick. Even working against a claimed 4,145 pound curb weight, the 3.0-litre twin-turbo V6 always feels powerful. Not so the C300, as its 241 horsepower 2.0-litre turbo 4-cylinder feels just as sluggish here as it is in the coupe. Both cars have multiple drive modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and individual and steering wheel mounted shift paddles, but only in the C43 can the 9-speed automatic be locked into manual mode. Shifting with the paddles is quick, but left to its own devices the transmission is probably smarter than you are, skipping as many gears as needed to keep the engine singing. The C43 gets bigger brakes, 14.2 inches in diameter in the front and 12.6 in the rear, versus 13.0 inches front and 11.8 rear in the C300. The C43 also has a sportier suspension tune and a quicker steering ratio, as well as a robust 3,169 torque split for the all-wheel drive system. Both cars ride on the same staggered tires, 22545 R18 in the front and 24540 R18 in the rear. The C300 we drove rode softly on its optional air suspension, and even when we dialed up the drive mode to Sport Plus it never felt overly harsh. The C43's adaptive suspension also seems to be tuned on the more comfortable side, although with better body control. There's a huge gap in performance between the C300 and the C43, one that makes you wonder if Mercedes might find room for the 330 horsepower V6-powered C400 it sells in other markets but doesn't yet plan to offer in the United States. Yet the 4- and 6-cylinder models still resemble each other more than they do the V8-powered cars. Of the full-bore AMGs, we drove only the C63S, and from the moment we fired it up and goosed the throttle to hear the lion-like roar of its sport exhaust, it was obvious that this beast is unlike any other compact convertible, from Mercedes or any other car maker. The 4.0-litre V8 paired with a 7-speed automatic is a well-known and proven combination in other AMG models including the C sedan and coupe. Mercedes told us that it will offer a total of 48 AMG models lineup-wide by the end of 2016. Here in the C63 Cabrio, the twin-turbo V8 makes 469 horsepower, and in the C63S, a stunning 503, rivaling most muscle car engines for power density. Torque in the S is an equally impressive 516 lb-ft, a number that also speaks to the inherent solidity of the Cabriolet structure, which somehow resists the engine's efforts to twist it into a 4,250-pound martini garnish. Mercedes claims 4.0 seconds for the C63S in the sprint to 60 miles per hour, or 0.7 seconds quicker than its claim for the C43 version. It is also fast, hitting an electronically limited top speed of 174 miles per hour, according to the car maker, whereas lesser models are capped at 130 miles per hour. Both C63 and C63S get limit slip differentials, the former's is mechanical while the latter's is electronic. The S also gets dynamic engine mounts. Like the coupe, the C63 convertible benefits from a wider track and more negative camber facilitated by a dedicated rear suspension that's not shared with the C300 and the C43. The result? It claws at the road like that grizzly bear in the Revenant. Unfortunately, the steering isn't quite so lively. The C43's rack actually has more road feel. The ride can be brutally stiff in the Sport Plus drive mode, and we didn't even try the additional C63 only race mode, but dialed back the settings and the C63S feels almost as compliant as the C300. For fans of AMG's house tuning, Countess among them, the C63S Cabriolet will feel both familiar and sublime. The statement rings true aesthetically, as well. The convertible is almost a carbon copy of the coupe, with the same C-Class styling and beautiful interior. Ditto the equipment list, which includes much of the Mercedes technology that used to be reserved for the top-of-the-line S-Class. But now semi-autonomous driving and other advanced safety features such as collision warning and autonomous braking are available throughout the class model line, including the Cabriolet. And, of course, Mercedes also offers its complete command infotainment system in the convertible. This generation of class already has raised the bar for Mercedes-Benz's most popular model, and the introduction of this convertible can only help the brand continue to succeed at its strategy of filling every niche, even one that seems perennially at risk of disappearing.